an equal opportunity employer.
RJ, appreciate you making some time for this morning. I want to preface our conversation with you as Coach Pittman coming on your show on Saturday. Why are you so high on the Razorbacks after their win against Texas?
It's not just that they beat Texas. It's how they beat Texas. Running up over 300 yards, getting really great play out of special teams. I know there was the muff punt, but you got a kicker comes in there, and he's making field goals. I don't care if he's dinking them off the upright. They're going through. And then to have run Hudson Card out the game, and then to have more or less put the clamps on what many people believe is one of the three best running backs in the country. You got an offense, you got a defense, you got a quarterback that'll go level a linebacker in the middle of the field. I like that. Sam Pittman's energy is coming through this team. And you know as much as anybody else, I'm a tremendous Coach Pittman fan.
RJ, after the win, after the dominating performance that you just referred to, there were some jokes made. Well, is Texas rethinking its move to the SEC? What do you think Saturday night was for the Texas Longhorns? Is it a wake-up call on how much recruiting they have to do on the line of scrimmage?
I don't think so. I think that it's Steve Sarkisian being in year one, and I was critical of the decision to start Hudson Card. I thought Casey Thompson was the better quarterback. Having seen him play in the Alamo Bowl, I mean, you can't do much better than what he did, 4 touchdowns and 8 passes. I thought that he was the guy. He's the older guy. He's been there, and I thought Hudson had a lot to learn from him, and they're going to make that switch. But I think for me, let's make it old school. No, hey, this ain't the SEC to you. This is the Southwest Conference to you. This is the SWC over here, boy. This is what we're going to do when you come to our conference, because I had posited, Ty, and you very much know this, that the Arkansas would have a lot more fun in the Big 12, meaning they'd win the championship. You look at that SEC West division, up and down it, 5 of the 7 teams are ranked. It ain't easy. It's the toughest division in all of football. And for Arkansas to be what we think is probably at the time to start the season, the 3rd or 4th best team in that division, to go and put a whooping on Texas, who expects to contend for the Big 12 championship, you're seeing what I mean there. So I don't know that it speaks that badly about Texas. I think it speaks that greatly about Arkansas, and I reflected that in my rankings on the number 1 ranked show.
You kind of touched on it there, RJ. What do you expect out of Texas the rest of the way? Because we're trying to put a value on this win. Did Arkansas beat an average Texas team, a good Texas team? Where do you expect Texas to end up when it's all said and done a couple of months from now?
It's a very good question, and I like to see who they play and how they play them. Like, I had Texas at number 6 going into that game, and Arkansas showed me exactly what that means. The Associated Press had them at number 15. I think it's a ranked win, fellas. And I think, you don't look a gift horse in the mouth on that. And I'm not so concerned about what Texas does. I think they got a shot to go and get Oklahoma, because that particular game is always up in the air. OU Texas gives us the willies over here for good reason. But I also think that Iowa State showed that they can be beat, and how they can be beat. If you play good defense against them, if you force them to make mistakes, they could win 9 games this year. They could run the rest of the way. They could turn into garbage. But I think that does not take away from the win that Arkansas got on Saturday.
All right, Georgia Southern this week, but let's be honest. We got you here to talk about the games of consequence that are coming up, and that's Texas A&M and Georgia. Haynes King out, but let's talk about line of scrimmage play. We know these are going to be 2 physical teams, 2 great defenses, in fact. How will Arkansas's young quarterback with K.J. Jefferson and this offensive line that has veterans up front fare against 2 of the better, not the best, but 2 of the better defenses in the SEC over the first 2 SEC games?
First, let me just say, let's give Georgia Southern their due, right? They're going to show up. They're going to play a little football. I understand. But
all right, we check that box.
But you get to Texas A&M next week, right? And it'd be 3-0, I believe, for the first time since 2016. Did I have that right, fellas? I think so.
For Arkansas?
Yeah.
That sounds right, because 2017, you had an early loss. 2018.
Chad Morris didn't sniff.
Yeah, didn't help.
3-0.
Well, I think you go to 4-0 with a win against A&M for the first time since 2003. And then you get that. I know how much folks in Arkansas want to beat A&M, having lost, I believe it's the last 9. And I think it's not necessarily for me about the line of scrimmage. It's about the quarterback play. Like, that's what we're learning this year, is the quarterback play ain't been very good anywhere. And y'all got one that I could actually trust. And Calzada had the late comeback win, but it was against a Colorado team I thought Texas A&M should beat with a backup quarterback by 4 touchdowns, and they were getting ran around by a quarterback that I don't think is as talented or as mature as KJ Jefferson. And I believe that if you're going to have to figure out how to stop the 6'3", 255-pound dude that also throws passes, then you're going to open the game up in a way that I believe Kendall Brosnan can take advantage of with that veer and shoot, use some tempo to go at him. But I think that you, as Arkansas fans, should be very excited to see Barry Odom against that defense, because I think they could have played head up against them with Haynes King at quarterback. And I get that everybody's very high on Ridgeway, but that secondary y'all got, and those 2 linebackers, Graham Morgan and Bumper Poole, they play a little football out there. So I kind of want to give Arkansas the edge here. I want to see what they do against Georgia Southern. I want to see them take care of business. But yeah, I'm excited for that game.
RJ Young with us here on the Morning Rush, host of the number 1 ranked show on Fox Sports. RJ, when you look at outside of just this Arkansas schedule, the games this weekend of consequence, Auburn and Penn State. Now, Bo Nix has been dreadful on the road relative to his home Jordan numbers. What do you think about that matchup, the biggest game of Brian Harsin's tenure to this point, going in to Happy Valley?
I've been saying for some time that Auburn ain't played nobody, right? You're not going to impress me beating up on Alabama State. As much as I like watching Alabama State play an SEC team, you're not going to impress me with that. You get to go up to Happy Valley, and you get to try to knock off a Penn State team I have ranked inside the top 6 off a win against Wisconsin in a game that I thought was fantastic. And that Wisconsin team can play a little football. They also get Notre Dame the same day that Arkansas gets A&M. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But I think if nothing else, Bo Nix is going to have to prove he can beat a really good defense with his arm, because I'm going to load the box and I'm going to take away anything they want to do inside. I can't have Tank Bigsby and Bo Nix running any sort of read off of me. I need to get back there and force them to throw the football downfield. If you do that, and you're in a hostile environment like the one he's going to be in at State College, you earn my respect. But you got to go do it first, right? It's also going to be a really great matchup for the SEC versus the Big Ten, because right now, the Big Ten could really use this win, right? After Oregon went up to Columbus and did what they did, I'm inclined to think the Penn State might be able to get them a little bit of lower Alabama. I think they got this one.
I'll tell you the game I'm looking forward to. Arkansas obviously going to take on Georgia Southern at 3 o'clock, but I'll have my computer up with the the Alabama and Florida game. And now there's been a lot of question marks surrounding Anthony Richardson. He's looked fantastic at this point. Is he going to get more playing time with Emory Jones being the veteran, being the guy that's been there at one time? How do you think Dan Mullen plays out his quarterback situation on Saturday against the number 1 team in college football?
You know what? You better pick one. That right there. This whole 2 quarterback thing is giving me the willies, especially if you're Emory Jones, because the man hadn't had an opportunity to supplant himself as a starter. And if you thought Anthony Richardson was the guy, just start him. I hate this 2 quarterback thing, because neither one of those guys knows if they're the guy, and you're forcing people to talk around the issue. Y'all want to get behind a dude, and you want to get behind a dude before you play the best team in the entire universe in number 1 ranked Alabama. But it's a dream scenario for Florida. They're undefeated. They get him at home. I just don't know if Anthony Richardson is a Dak Prescott clone, and I mean the one at Dallas Cowboys, not necessarily the one at Mississippi State. I get that they can run the football, but that ain't going to be enough to go beat a team that can put up 50 and can stop you from scoring 50. I need to see him pass for 300 in this game. I need to see him rush for 100 in this game, and that might not be enough. Y'all might remember little game in the Orange Bowl 2018. Kyler Murray went for 300, passed for 100. Looked like he'd been through the wars after that game, so he could do that, and they still lose. I like seeing what I saw from Anthony Richardson. I'm not sure what to do about Emory Jones. I just want them to pick a quarterback. If he picks Anthony Richardson to start the game, we'll know he's up to something. If he doesn't, it's another Alabama win, and then I don't have to talk about Florida much anymore.
And Alabama's been the most complete team from the ability to put points up, stop their opponent from putting points up, and now they have a kicker. So I don't know what the rest of the college football world's going to do.
You know, we said this in 2017, and then he came out with rat poison. He did the rat poison thing again after the Miami win. But it wasn't that long ago that we were saying the same thing about USC. Remember that? Remember who was going to stop USC? And now we're like, who's going to stop Alabama? It's going to come to an end, fellas. It's just none of us, kind of like the rise and fall of Tom Brady, have been right about when it's going to happen. But, it's going to happen. It's just probably not happen this year.
Then Stanford plays Vanderbilt. Is anyone smart enough to even watch that game? I forget about analyzing it, but Stanford and Vanderbilt, but you talk about a bunch of IQ in the stadium. That game's way too smart for any of us, right?
Nah, hey, look, I'm going to take in as much football as I could possibly take in. I even found a way to take in some directional Tennessee land-grant university taking out Cornelius's Vanderbilt. Like, I'm interested because that Stanford team was locked up by K-State, just didn't score until the fourth quarter late, and then they knock off a top 15 USC team and got their coach fired. I think if Clark Lee is able to get a W in there, we got to take Vanderbilt seriously again, and more than that, we got to start looking at East Tennessee State going, hey, y'all want to play a little FBS football? Because y'all might be pretty good.
Let me ask you about another game that's kind of slightly off the radar for a lot of people. That'd be Tulane and Ole Miss. Tulane gave Oklahoma a run in their house. Should there be any pause, any concern for Ole Miss fans and Ole Miss this week taking on Tulane, who's had difficulties of their own dealing with a hurricane and having to play that game at Oklahoma? Will this game be closer than a lot of people think this week, or will Ole Miss just run it up down the field with the passing game and corral?
First of all, I need some folks to put some respect on the Tulane Green Wave. That is the 1933, 1939, 1949 SEC champion Tulane Green Wave. Now, all jokes aside, right? That offense that Ole Miss runs, they run it well and they run it fast as hell. Like, hey, they get up and they go. They get up and they go. And a lot of what they are able to do is catch you off, right? They did this against Alabama last year, and it was the only offense that really put Alabama in a bind. They might go for 50. Thing is, Tulane got some heart to them, fellas. I mean, those boys were displaced by a hurricane, put install in Birmingham on a Wednesday, went up to Oklahoma for a home game, and were not just in a game at late. They were basically half a yard from having a chance to win that thing. I'm saying, if you do not come out and put them away early, and who knows what put them away early looks like, you're probably going to be in a dogfight. I would remind folks, Oklahoma was up 34-14 in that game and won it 40-35. You better not let off the gas if you're Lane Kiffin, is what I'm saying.
RJ, we really appreciate the conversation. Enjoy your conversation with Coach Pittman, and hopefully we'll all be happy campers, not just after this weekend, but the A&M weekend as well.
Ty, you are my brother from another. I love you so much. I wish you so much success, and I hope that the Hogs do something wild for you in the next couple of weeks.
Hopefully they live up to your Tier 3 ranking. That's pretty high.
And I double-checked your numbers real quick. You're right, 3-0 the last time to 16, 13 before that. Haven't been 4-0 since 03, but you got to remember they played Alabama. Like, they played 3 cupcakes, and then they play Alabama, a lot of years. So Alabama's always the start of conference play. So 4-0, the last time it's happened was 03.
Great stat, RJ.
Hey, look, I might know a little bit of something about this college football thing, guys. Make me feel good.
No question about it. All right, buddy. Have a great morning. Have a great week, and I'll catch up with you soon, okay?
All right, fellas. Bye.